Hello, everyone. Welcome to another recording in the Science is the New Religion series that Michael has put together for us from Germany. And we are going to go into a series of studies that he's put together for us. And so far, we've been in South America looking at a lot of the, what can we say, volcanoes last time in our series, and how that relates to this whole agenda that we see coming into fruition in the world circles and in our news and daily life. And Michael, this has been an eye-opener for me as well as everyone else, so welcome.
Hello, dear Brett. Thanks for having me again. We are just on the road to the more conclusive sessions, I think. So now you will see the background of my ideas at least, and I hope that it will fit also your thoughts and your research. So this is one of the backgrounds I did on justifying my hypothesis when it comes down to Matthew 24 about famines, pestilences and earthquakes happening before the end of times. So one approach, if you think that they will just play out something, of course, is climate change. And this climate change, of course, has much to do with the changing of temperature and the changing also of weather conditions and earthquakes, storms, hurricanes, temperature zones and all the stuff. But actually, the background of it could be that these people do not only orientate themselves at the Bible, because they are not Bible-believing Christians, but pagans, and they are worshipping the sun or any other pagan god. Actually, what they are doing is just worshipping Satan. But as Satan has been given dominion over all the materialistic aspects in life, as you can read in Luke 4 and Matthew 4 in that regard, I think it's quite fair to just enclose this thought that this whole science approach is just being used to deceive the people, because once a scholar has said the following quote: "Science is the religion of the elite." So they believe among themselves about their discoveries and their methods and their calculations that they are maybe infallible, and they have worked out such a pagan system of astronomy, biology, chemistry, mathematics and so forth that it sounds logical at first glance, but of course it lacks God, and therefore it lacks reason, and it lacks, of course, real science, because this is just science so-called. So without any further ado, this is the solar system, which is not a sun system. Why? Because there is a Roman god called Sol. So the first deception is that they think they can fool you in just interpreting that it's just solar, it's just anything to do with the sun, but solar also has been anything that is in connection with the Roman god Sol. So, and these are all these so-called planets, and the Earth is not a planet, because the Earth is only in their science so-called system a planet which is spinning counterclockwise on the one hand, and is spinning around the sun. So therefore the sun is the center, and it's just so big. And you know from Aristarchus of Samos that he came up with the idea that the sun is much bigger because it's just much more further away. That is not backed up by the Bible by any means. So therefore we are just simply here stating a pagan system.
Oh, I got a comment. I liked what you said, Michael, when we started out this talk about the solar system. How the moon, when you look at the moon, is about the same size in an eclipse like we're going to have coming up here in April 8th, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see the sun eclipsed by the moon, you have this almost perfect silhouette. And yeah, how could that be by accident?
Yeah, that's
the point. See Yeah, how can that possibly be an accident? There's no coincidence there, Michael.
TG, TG, TBT. Too good to be true.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's something very, very unique going on with God's creation. And we poor little people here don't have big enough brains to put it all together. And we're not supposed to, are we? Why don't we just be thankful for what we have? No, we have to be domineering and have science and prove that our theory is correct, you see? What a mess.
This entire science has only the one and only purpose of just ridiculing the Bible. So it's a counter-reformation science or counter-reformation revolution. Yeah, so revolution means the earth is just revolving. Yeah, so revolution means to revolve, like a revolver, where the chamber is just revolving for every bullet. Yeah, so, and this is just a revolution about the revolving earth. And this is just a concept of revolution. It's just so simple. It's just simple as that. Yeah, these are all the possible explanations of SOL, Sol. Yeah, the sun in Latin language, Sol, a German goddess of the sun, a North mythology, a Roman mythology, a Roman sun god. It's like the Greek Helios or Sol Invictus. Yeah, so there you got your Christmas. Yeah, because winter solstice, 22nd of December, the lowest point of the sun, and therefore the longest night and all the stuff. Sol, a day on the planet Mars, gold in alchemy, Sol de Oro, currency in Peru. Oh, Peru. Yeah, so it just goes on and on and on. A band. Yeah, in English, you see maybe a little bit more interesting. In English, not that much. Or maybe Soul Project, Argentine. Soul means the sun, but also means the sun god. It's not. Where is it here? The Roman god. Where is it? Where is it? Where's your Roman god in English? Roman. Sol, Roman mythology. So there's your solar system. Sol is the personification of the sun and the god in ancient Roman religion. There comes your solar system. If it would be a sun system, it would be a sonar system, yeah? But it's a solar system.
Sonar.
Yeah.
I like that.
The name of your sun is not Sol. The name of your sun is Sun. S-U-N, not S-U-N, of course, S-U-N. So solar system is the combination of the Roman god of the sun. So
well, it would be like repeating, the S-U-N of God, the Son of God, rather than the S-O-N of God.
Yeah, it's phonetically, it's very similar.
Yeah, I think it's on purpose.
Yeah, sure.
That's got to be Satan.
I think so too. You see all these Roman gods, with one exception, or two exceptions actually. The one is the moon, which is not a planet. It's just a satellite, they say, of the Earth in their system. And Uranus, which is not a Roman god. But we come to this quite later. So this is just the first page of all the mess. In Roman and in antique astrology, there were only 7 major planets. 7. Yeah, so therefore they named each day of the week according to one god or goddess. Yeah, Monday, the moon. Tuesday is Mars. Wednesday is Mercury, Mercredi in French. Thursday is Jupiter, or the Nordic and German god Thor, the god of thunder. Friday is Vendredi, is Venus. Saturday, it's the day of Saturn, so to get rid of Sabbath, they named it Saturday, so the day of Saturn, and not Sabbath, because we are living here in an anti-Christian, anti-biblical system. And of course, Sunday, that's quite obvious then.
Yeah, it was done on purpose, I think, the whole Sabbath, Saturn thing. Another work of Satan.
Yeah, then you got all your 7 days of the week. No? So these were the known so-called planets without the moon, but the so-called heavenly bodies, let's put it this way, the heavenly bodies. And now, since Galileo and Copernicus. Copernicus was a Polish priest or ecclesiastic at least, who was just more or less translating stuff. They came up with the revolving universe as a revolution. Symbols and meanings, you see. The winged cup of Mercury, Hermes, or just the messenger of the gods, Venus, Earth, with a circle at the cross, 4 corners of the earth. The moon, the question moon, to better differentiate between the moon and the sun. The sun is just a circle with a dot in the middle. Mars has been officially been explained as being the shield of a warrior and the spear of a warrior. But as I was young and I was interested in astronomy and astrology, I always came up with the interesting idea to say, okay, that is quite easy because Venus and Mars are being known for sexual symbols, and so the female reproductive organs are just below below the belly, and this could also be a symbol for erection, but that was just my juvenile, my youth interpretation. The correct ancient interpretation would be the shield and the spear of Mars. Yeah, so Jupiter, the hieroglyph of the eagle, which is the birth of Jupiter, and Saturn with the sickle. So once again for the crops of the corn and for the end of time. So the ancient cycle or sickle represents Saturn as the god of the seed sowing and also of time. Let's say Chronos, where your chronograph or just your watch comes from. And these are 3 planets which have been discovered after the Reformation took place. Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. And Pluto has been gotten rid of his status as a planet. That's a little bit chunky, but we do not go into this. So these planet symbols are just symbols of ancient times, and they have been not only symbols, but they have also been mentioned with Roman names, with 1 or 2 exceptions. Their symbols were also used in alchemy to represent the metals associated with the planets and in calendars for the associated days. So therefore here comes your month, but you see the month and the year are being biblical explanations of the biblical calendar. The moon cycle around the earth, so to speak, is just the months, and the cycle of the sun around the earth, or around the zodiac actually, would be the year. What did God say? I give you the sun and the moon and the lights to be guides for times and seasons. Yeah, let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Yes, so that's it. So this is the table of elements. Yeah, moon is silver and the sun is gold. So that's, I think, quite commonly known. Mars is iron, Jupiter is tin, Saturn is lead. The lead bullet. Yeah, you see Saturn is been seen as the god or the harbinger of death. And so therefore you see the metal where the bullets have been made out is mostly lead. Everything serves a purpose in this world. So without just going into every nitty-gritty here, the symbols of Venus and Mars are also used to represent female and male in biology, following a convention in the 1750s. Yes. The classical 7 planets I have mentioned. Luna, the goddess of the moon with the crescent. You see the crescents upon her head. This time not the Virgin with the moon under her feet, but this is the Roman goddess with the crescent above her head. Mercury with the caduceus, I'm sorry. Venus with the shining mirror. Sol emanating rays out of the sun. Yeah, so to be seen in any pagan religion, or most of them at least.
That reminds me, Michael, of the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
U.S.
Yes, and also you see that this been seen as a life force. Yeah, so in these pagan religions there is no creator god, but you see that the sun, with this sun energy, life only could be created. So these are the rays here. So not just misjudging it here. Mars with a spear, Jupiter with a staff, of course, to rule them with a spear, and Saturn with a sickle. So, don't want to spoil any times. You see, the 4 quarters of the world symbol for Earth, and there's also another symbol. This is the globus cruciger symbol for Earth. And you can make up your mind why many people would prefer the lower globus cruciger as a symbol for the Earth. That has much to do with a certain religion, I guess. Which is also very interesting because usually a circular object resembles perfection, a perfect circle. And so that this symbol for Earth, when the cross means in the Roman religion death, actually it means the sun, but also it means matter, because you see that the 4 quarters of the Earth symbol for Earth, that could also mean that matter is ruling the spiritual world. But you see, that would also be my explanation, and there would be not many people who would agree on this. But that would be a very good explanation about Satan, or about Satan ruling the earth, because the earth is just, the majority of people are just in, this is Mercury, this is the a threefold symbol. This is the crescent moon, so to speak. So this here is the point where you receive information. Then you got the circle here. The circle stands for divine things and for spirit. Yeah, so he was receiving things through the spirit, leading it down to the earth, or leading it down to matter, because that is matter. As obviously, these are sun rays. This is not a Eucharist or a wafer. This is a sun symbol. And the cross is a sun symbol too, and a symbol of the crucifixion of Christ, of course. So Christ has been crucified to the sun. Therefore, I thought it would be good to go into some nitty-gritty in about these pagan astronomy, and especially astrology, because astronomy is just the observation of the sky and its stars and heavenly bodies. Astrology means the explanation of the things for some pagan beliefs like Hermes Trismegistus, who never existed, as in heaven, as above, so below. So that means that any occurrence in the sky has also an effect on the life of mankind, or the one who wants to have his horoscope. So let's go into this. In these horoscopes, you have the explanation of planets in certain segments. You got 12 signs of the zodiac, which have been named as a given position when they have started the system in Chaldea at the Babylonian time, so thousands of years before Christ. They have been divided. The zodiac is a belt of heavens, including all apparent positions of the sun, moon, and all familiar planets. It is divided into 12 equal divisions or signs. You can literally imagine it as a belt around your Earth, and it's not a planet. Maybe we can use that picture for just having no. So this is the celestial equator. So if you believe in their tilt, you can imagine yourself the 12 signs of the zodiac being lined up here: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, around this circle here, okay? Oh, this is really, you won't find any good picture. And in astrology, actually, which is very interesting, the Earth is at center. So this is the Earth, and this is the horizon. So the highest point would be the MC, the medium Curly, the middle of the heaven, actually, which that means. So this would be noon here. This would be night. This is the day. This is the night. This is the ascendant. Yeah, this is east. This is west. So the sun rises in the east, moves to the south, goes down in the west, and is not to be seen in the north. So that's it, actually. So, and you have here all these different symbols of the planets, or the heavenly bodies, because the moon is not a planet. The problem that I got is, you see, that to start with that, you need to have so many informations to really know what's it all about. So let's at least start. Medium Celi means the medium of the heaven, MC. This is the MC is the southern culmination point of a zodiacal degree seen at a certain point in time and from a certain point of view. So that is the biggest, the best thing that I can come up with, because that is the English literal translation. The medium Celi is the upper intersection of the meridian and the ecliptic, and must not be confused with the zenith, which lies vertically at the top. And I don't want to go into all of this, because that is a study on its own, and I don't want to spoil all my time. But my problem in all the research is that you would have to know what you are doing, and before you can even see the truth in it.
Right.
Yeah. So that,
very technical, Michael.
Yeah, it's
very
all technical.
Yes.
But you see, the powers to be, the real people in power, they are just using these sort of calendars to, to determine when something happens. You see, that is far from the original astrology. The astrology usually was being seen for kings to decide when to take action, or when a king was born, yeah, something like this. But not for the regular John Doe, not for the regular guy on the street. And it has nothing to do with these illustration papers, news magazines, all these horoscopes. This is just BS. This is exoteric bullshit. I'm sorry. But,
right.
But at least there is some truth in it. So that means that if there is for example, if it is the 22nd of December, it is 0 degrees Capricornus. It's the official beginning of winter in their system, but it's 0 degree Capricornus. So at least there is some truth in it, because some things you can really see that they are just fitting. For example, when it's summer, then the sun is in Cancer or in Leo. So there is some truth in it, of course. But to go into every nitty-gritty, this is just another feat, and I'm not willing to do so, because otherwise it's not my native language, and it's not that easy to go into all this stuff.
No.
What really is important is that everything in this world is totally in opposition of the Bible. In the Bible, for example, the day starts at night. But in our system, the day starts at midnight. Yeah, so at 0 hour or 12 a.m. your time. Right, Brett?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that begins at midnight. But midnight is interesting. Yeah, there starts your day. But the explanation of midnight actually means the middle of the night. So that means that the night has started before. But in your system, they are telling you with their science that the day starts at 000 or 1200 in the 12-hour format, while it has been called midnight. Yeah, so that means that the day has also been. Can you follow me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, isn't it?
It's actually very simple. The Bible in Genesis 1. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So the day starts with the evening. That's also the reason, of course, why Sabbath starts at the sunset.
Yes. That's the best way to say it. It starts at sunset. Sunset is when the evening has passed, and then the sun is done away with, and now you have the night. So
that's sunset.
It's the beginning of the night is sunset. Yes.
Sunset. Okay, then I'm correct. Yeah. So that's sunset. So sunset is the start of the day in the Bible.
Right.
But in our system that we are learning, it is midnight when the day starts. Can you imagine that illogical behavior? Your day should start when it is the middle of the night. You see this approach. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with logic. Our day here starts at midnight, at 0 or 12. While in the Bible it clearly starts when the sun is going down and the night appears, then the day starts in the night. But now they claim, no, it's just 12 o'clock when actually that means that 12 o'clock, around 12 o'clock, that means that the sun is at the lowest point. You see, AC means the start of the day when the sun is rising. Yeah, so this here DC means this is the place where the sun is going down. This is the horizon.
Sun is set. Yes.
Sun is set.
Okay.
So this is the horizon. So this is where the biblical day starts.
Right.
Yeah, when the sun is going down. But in our system that we have learned with the Roman sun system and solar system, it is when the sun is standing here on the lowest point, and not when the sun is going down, but in the middle of the night, in the midst of the night, midnight. That is where your day starts. So even there, you got a totally illogic behavior of your science, so-called.
That's right.
It's much more easier to explain it with a symbol or just with a picture here. So they claim, of course, the rotation of the Earth, so that astrology is totally incorrect because where is it? Astrology is totally incorrect because the Earth is not fixed, but the Earth is just moving, and the Sun. That therefore, it is an old ancient system, and it does not work, and it is BS. But actually, astrology, at least in that regard, is totally correct when the Earth is fixed and the Sun is just moving here.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So, rotation of the Earth and blah, blah, blah. They tell you the tilt of the ecliptic and the Earth, the axis of the Earth and blah, blah, blah. This is, of course, all incorrect. What is really interesting, because it is a real worship of deities. Yeah, you see, they have even Lord of the Day and Lord of the Year and Lord of the Hour. What does that tell you? It's quite easy, huh? And the 12 segments of this are called the houses, and there are certain planets who have been called the rulers. So it's a total pagan system. You got 360 degrees. You got 36 deacons, so 36 times 10 degrees. Every 10 degrees is called a decan, D-E-C-A-N, D-E-C decimal December 10. Yeah, so 30 times these deacons, and therefore 1 to 36 summed up means 666, and there you got it. Yeah,
right.
666, one of the most important explanations of 666. So
the number of the beast, yeah.
The number of the beast.
And the spirit of Antichrist, both.
And the name of the man of sin, yeah. So that
that too. Right.
In other terms, when 666 is the name of the man of sin, and the number of a man, then that man is the ruler of the zodiac, and that man is also using these sun worship and pagan. It's coming from Babylonian, from Chaldean magicians, astrology.
Right.
These were being mentioned and these were being named in the Bible as observers of times. Forbidden in the Bible to make prognosis, because you depend on God. I used prognosis in my past as a professional astrologer. I never was quite satisfied with it, because there are so many numerous possibilities what could have happened, so that in the end God decides what happens. So that does not make that so much sense unless you just use your time to study occultism instead of reading the Bible, and we do not want to promote it. I'm just explaining it here. You will find many, many incorrect explanations, because the majority of explanations, according to that so-called science, or science so-called, has been coming out of pagan origins. So people who believe in evolution will tell you, oh, it's billions of years ago, and this is ages 10,000 of years ago. So it does not make any sense. Why I'm coming up with this is just only to explain my hypothesis about the events to come when it comes down to Matthew 24 and the alike. So we have certain astrological ages and cycles. This is paganism, of course, to a certain degree. So we had the age of Virgo, Leo, and Cancer, and this is just pagan because the Earth is not 12,000 years old. But you see that it's just only to just visualize all this mess which is going on onto this Earth. And we had the age of Aries before Christ. And we had then the age of Pisces, or water, or fish, in the year 0 to 2012, when Jesus the Fisher King as the prophet of water sign Pisces. And so you see, this is all, of course, pagan. This is pagan.
Of course.
This is pagan, yeah? So the thing is, there's always some truth in it, but you see that it's hard to see through all the lies when the lie is always mixed with the truth. But what they believe in is that there are 12 ages of each 2,000 years of a span. So therefore, the last age of the Pisces, or of Jesus, let's put it this way, that has happened from 0, or the birth of Christ, literally until the year 2000, plus minus some years. Many people claim it went to 1967, 68, somewhere around this. And then there was an age of Aquarius, which has been prominently mentioned here in the musical Hair. And they draw the line through astrology right in the start from their lyrics, Age of Aquarius. Aquarius also is one of the 12 zodiac signs. They claim, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. The musical Hair. Late 60s, great, when? 68, yeah. 68, something was going on in 68, I guess, huh? 68. So much going on in 68.
Yeah, like the 2001
2001
Space Odyssey movie, yeah.
Yeah. So they are proclaiming in 1968, right in the open, the age of Aquarius. So all the people are dressed here in fancy, colorful clothes, and Aquarius has much to do with it, because Aquarius is the regular ruler of House 11. 11 means the individuality in society. So it means of a paradigm shift. So a new age is coming on. Oh, new age. Did I mention new age? You see that is all in alliance here with the age of Aquarius. The mind's true liberation. Aquarius, Aquarius. Which means, of course, what was it that Aleister Crowley always promoted? Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. This is the mind's true liberation. So, age of Aquarius. So they will always come up with things which have been attributed to the Bible, but of course with false explanations, and they are pagan equivalent, so to speak. The great year means the entire revolution of all the 12 fixed star signs and the zodiac around the Earth, which should appear in a cycle of 24,000 years, plus minus, which then leaves 2,000 years for each sign. So 2,000 years after the birth of Christ would be then in the year 2000. And now we come to a small excerpt here of strange coincidences, let's put it this way. The Russian-Ukrainian war is a war and media ritual of the global media industry and war industry with the Jesuit Joe Biden, the United Nations, NATO, and Russian and Ukrainian political actors that started in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea and intensified in 2022. The media scare of a world war started in February 2022 after the conjunction of the planet Pluto. Pluto is a synonym for biggest fear, communism, nuclear power, oil, and viruses, with Mars, the Roman god of war, and Venus, which has two meanings. One is the goddess of love, and second is the goddess of money. In Capricorn, Capricornus, I said 0 degree Capricornus, the 22nd of December. So Capricornus is quite interesting because Capricornus, of course, is the time when it is cold, when it's dark, when the sun is on the lowest point, and when the night night is the longest, so the night has the biggest power in Kabbalism and in the occult, and of course when there is Christmas. So no wonder that Elon starts with EL. And Venus later was the wife of Mars after she betrayed Vulcanus, the Vulcan. So everything that you see on the outside in media, in CBS, CNN, ABC, etc., is just a big Jesuitical theater. You see the Ukrainian president, or whatever his role is, Volodymyr Zelensky, who plays the role of victim and good guy, is a trained actor and comedian who played in populist blockbusters. And Vladimir Putin also plays the role of a bad guy. And Biden plays a role, and Trump plays a role, and Kennedy plays a role, and these are all actors. Actors. So that means that certain positions of planets or appearances in the sky, they have an effect, but not an effect because they have a direct effect on something, but they have an effect because the powers to be choose this time to let any event happen because they want to worship their god or their solar system. Meaning, these events on the sky, they have the significance that the rulers to be are granting them because they say then, okay, now the time is right for our little action to take place. God can create miracles and wonders. And all the moon and the sun and the stars, he left there for, what does the Bible say?
Signs and seasons?
Yes.
Days and years, yes.
Yes. So that means that are signs for seasons and for days and for years. If you then presume that the birth of Jesus Christ was being prophesied with the Virgin Mary as the fixed star, clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars upon her head, which resembles actually the Virgin of Quito then I got a little bit of problem, because now comes my point, and I would like to have a discussion on that with Brett.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that, because we can take as an argument that these so-called wise men coming out of the east, they knew Daniel. So Daniel talked to them about the Messiah to be born in Bethlehem. No, he did not. Oh, he did not. He did not know this. Daniel did not know it because it was being prophesied in the book of Micah, I think. Is it correct? Yeah, I think it was in the book of Micah. Or Misha, I do not know how to pronounce it.
Micah, yes.
Micah, yeah. And that's what my problem is. You see, the prophecy of the woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet has been written down in the book of Revelation close to 90 after Christ. See my problem? How should these wise guys from the east travel to Israel without knowing that the Savior of mankind can be honorated and should be born in Bethlehem? But they should...
That should be pretty simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they read the prophecy of Daniel.
Yes, but Daniel did not know about the great wonder in heaven with the woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head of the crown of 12 stars, which appeared as a fixed star sign on the heaven close to the birth of Jesus Christ 90 years before that revelation took place, has been written.
No, I'm not getting your point.
The usual explanation about Revelation 12 is, yes, of course, because there was a fixed sign. I think it was 3 years before Christ, with all the align in the order that Revelation 12 has pointed out. The problem is...
the planets aligning. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, this has been aligning in the fixed star heaven 3 before Christ and happened again in 2017. So they want to restrain you from any valid information. I think usually if you are just try to research anything on Google, you are just in the state of Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, so
Right,
that's the
right,
only thing that's
right.
been promoted on the internet.
Yep. That
So-
and The Simpsons, right?
Yeah, so that when
Is this a picture you searched?
yes.
Okay.
So this is the fixed star constellation allegedly, because I cannot prove it. I don't have the software for this. You see, I would rather go into the Bible and all the stuff, into all this secular research, because it drives me nuts. You see that I'm bombarded with lies 24/7. So this is the alleged constellation of September 11, 3 before Christ, one of the most possible dates of the birth of Jesus Christ. Of course, he was not born on Christmas Day. In Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, people claim to you that this great wonder in heaven would be the fixed star constellation which appeared in the night sky at September 3 before Christ, right?
Okay. Yes.
So the thing is, though, if there were wise men who have seen that sign of or constellations of fixed stars and the responsible planets, then they could not know Revelation 12. Because Revelation 12 has been written 90 years, plus minus, after the birth of Christ. So, once again, I think that they have received much more information, maybe from Daniel, maybe from something else. Maybe they had also a vision and was being sent to. And I always insist on seeing the Star of Bethlehem as a unnatural wonder of, so-called, so speak, of God, and not of a fixed star sign.
Right.
Okay, that was my point. You see that?
Yes, now I understand.
Yeah.
Well, can I make a comment on this? Because the way I see it, Michael, is that, you know, there's this constant push for mysticism in the world, and people really have a need to understand mysticism. So they turn to tradition, they turn to astrology, they turn to anything that can fill their desire for mysticism. Where in the Bible, there are mysteries of Christ that we're never going to solve. Ever. And I think that's a problem in the faith, is that people don't take mysticism seriously, and they think it's all just, getting in the way. Yeah, well, there's the pagan side of it, but there's the biblical side too. So what do we say? What do we do with that? Because there really are mysteries, and we're really never going to solve them, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
They will remain mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Because God uses mysteries too. God's ways are not man's ways, right?
Yeah. You see, to come back to the valid point is there are certain constellations on the sky which are being famous or infamous that some events happen. That's not an automatic reaction. That means that, oh yeah, now this is aligning with that, and this is appearing in the sky, that means this. It's just a signal for some rulers who are just into this system to start anything, because then, of course, it would serve their system and it would prove their system. So that's very easy to fulfill a prophecy when you are the one in charge. Which happened most likely in the Russian-Ukrainian war, which of course serves the purpose of Mary worship and the consecration of Russia to the Roman Catholic Church, according to the second message of Fatima, 1917. But there are other possibilities as well, and that what makes it so complicated. I just only want to touch is to show you that it's just a time-wasting thing to go all into this and to study this. You're better off to just rely on your God's mercy, than anything else. I'm just showing it to you that you just once heard it. The connection between Purim and the 2003 Persian Gulf War. Operation Desert Storm, I think it was. Quite right. Invasion of Iraq. Yes. Okay. So.
Oh no, it's in March. Oh, I'm wrong. It was early. Okay.
Nonetheless, look at this. The connection between Purim and the 2003 Persian Gulf War, or Iraq on that regard. You see that Persia is the old name of that country. History is a process which each respective regeneration making its contribution to the bigger picture. So what is Purim actually? Purim is a Jewish holiday which commemorates the saving of the Jewish people from annihilation, so from destruction, at the hands of an official of the Achaemenid Empire named Haman, which is recounted in the book of Esther, usually dated in the 5th century before Christ and not before Common Age. You see, once again, trying to ridicule Christ.
Of course.
So I know that story, and many of you will know that story too, that there was a true believer called Esther, which recognized that Haman wanted to kill people, Jews actually. The Jews has been saved, and this is a feast called Purim, Jewish holiday. And look at the timeline. In 1990 to 1991, there was a Gulf War and there was a second Gulf War. There was a Persian Gulf War in 2003, a Persian Gulf War in 357 before Christ, a Persian Gulf War. The first one in 99 ended on Purim, and the ultimatum to Iraq today is for Purim Eve. So there could also be connections to this Jewish festivities. Just telling you. If you rely on Nashash or the serpent, then they will tell you there are lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. And the problem that many flat earthers will have is that they can't explain properly a lunar or solar eclipse with the path that they are just telling you, because the path is not quite horizontally as they would like it to have. So therefore, I don't engage in that constellation. I don't engage in their arguments, but I just stick at the moment for the NASA. So look at this. This is the official explanation. Below, check out the visualization of the April 8, 2024 total solar eclipse in 3-dimensional. And you can click and drag, and you see then.
Okay.
So this is a solar eclipse that looks like this.
Yes.
And now the point comes into fruition, what Brad has mentioned earlier, that it is how awkward it is that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, how awesome is that, huh? How awesome is that?
That's our creator, isn't it?
They won't tell you that it's the evolution and it's just happening by randomly. So,
of course, yeah.
I have many counter arguments about it. There are solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. Yeah, so that means the sun has been blocked. We are just concentrating on the solar eclipse, because if we concentrate on a pagan system with a sol system, a Roman god of the sun, and the Roman god of the sun appears to decide, no, I won't shine there on that occasion, on that very day, on April the 8th, in that regard, on that region here in the United States, then the Roman god of the sun is mad at you. You see, these solar eclipses were always been infamous, and I have not researched what happened when and why and how, because I don't care anymore, because I believe that in the end these few years on the earth will not be very valid in comparison to eternal life. But for the heck of it, you see, this is a solar eclipse. That means the sun is blocked by the moon. Oh, the moon has also a circular shape. That's interesting. During a lunar eclipse, Earth gets in the way of the sunlight hitting the moon. It's very interesting to go into this too, but not now at the moment. The moon appeared a reddish color during a total lunar eclipse on January the 21. That's called a blood moon, and I know that many people have written about it and said, oh yeah, horrible things will happen then, and nothing happens.
Nothing happens at all.
Nothing happens at all. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I remember back some years ago, I forget if it was 2013 or 2012 or somewhere in there was a blood moon here. And I was outside on my front lawn videotaping it, well, making a video with my camera, right? It's not a video recorder, but just a regular camera with digital video.
You were shaken and frightened, I think.
Oh no, I had the camera on a tripod, Michael.
No, you were frightened because of the blood moon, and you were scared.
No, I wasn't scared at all. I just wanted to photograph it. That's all.
Okay, I see.
I thought it would be kind of cool. Hey, see the moon turn red. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's also very cool. You see, you can also play a game here, a video game called Helios, which create nuclear fusion in the sun. Yeah, it's all just a game. Helios. Yeah, so the Greek sun god Helios. It's not Sol. Yeah, it's Helios. Yeah, so you see what I mean. You see, they are just making fun of everything. They are just making fun of everything. What would you expect of a church who is just venerating the sun? Obviously. Wouldn't you think that they are just into solar eclipses quite much because it has much to do with the sun? And would that be a great day for Bill Gates, who wants to darken the sun? You see that not by accident, Pink Floyd puts out here, "Shine on you crazy diamond. Remember when you were young, you shone like the sun." Yeah, like the sun. But mankind is trapped now, and I don't expect you to explain that symbol. I had a strange imagination that has something to do with birth. Yeah. So, but everything in this entire world is a total mess. Well, if we look a little bit further and shine on your crazy diamond at Pink Floyd, we find out like black holes in the sky. And isn't a solar eclipse like a black hole in the sky?
Yeah.
Maybe then you should cry for the moon. You see, that is so interesting to go into this text. Nowadays they tell us about black holes. The universe has black holes, and they have calculated, the James Webb Telescope at least, has calculated that every black hole has the potential to create a new universe. So we are talking about multiverses then, multiple amount of universes, multiverses. But I have another sneaking suspicion that I would like to share with you, and this suspicion has something to do with the symbol of IHS. You see black holes in the sky, huh? In the song text of Shine on Your Crazy Diamond, they mention, allegedly it was Sid Vicious, but I have to highly doubt of that, you legend, you martyra and shine. So it has a religious context with martyra. And I think that is quite directly attributed with the diamond, according to Ezekiel 28, to Lucifer-Satan. Shine on your crazy diamond, like black holes in the sky. So these black holes are the ultimate threat because they suck up energy. And it could suck up everything, including light. Yeah, but you see that this quantum physics, in quantum physics everything is possible, even the impossible is possible, and the vacuum isn't a vacuum anymore because everything is happening inside the vacuum, even energy transmission, everything is happening inside nothing. So nothing creates anything. That's the same concept as evolution theory, I guess. It's the same as here my favorite astrophysicist, Jana Levin, who explains everything out of nothing. The black hole is formed out of some mass. Aha, so where does the mass come from? Nobody knows. It's a total mess then. A mess with E. Yeah, you have three-dimensionality, which is an utter illusion. Everything is an utter illusion. Gravity is ultimately, and The whole gravity is some kind of emergent illusion. Yeah, everything is an illusion. Everything is fairy tale for adults. Let's remember, science is the religion of the elite. We realize that there is not a thing in the world which is absolutely sure except black holes in the sky. And Barclay James Harvest has made an album in 1979, Eyes of the Universe, Black Holes in the Sky. I was a little bit reminded of this. But I came actually to my hypothesis quite later on, and it has something to do with a series called The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone is a series of somebody, according to a tale or to a fiction of a novel of Stephen King, the horror author. And this is The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone, also known as Stephen King's The Dead Zone, is a science fiction drama television series starring Anthony Michael Hall as Johnny Smith, who discovers he had developed psychic abilities after a coma of 6 years. So in the 7th year, remember, 7, yeah, he is just been waking up out of a sudden, and then he got psychic abilities. So this psychic abilities means that if he touches anybody, then he sees things which appeared in the past or might appear and might be happening in the future. So that is Dead Zone, because the doctor who usually treated him said now his brain has new connected itself to any unknown areas in the brain called the Dead Zone. So that's the origin of the name of the Dead Zone, right? In that television series of 2003, in the 2nd season, episode 14, there is an episode called Plague. And I have this session in my possession. In that session, they claim that he detects an unknown virus which appears in the school, and therefore they had to lock down the school and to have everybody in isolation, because there is no effective medical treatment for that unknown virus. They say the origin of that virus in Dead Zone is coming out of China. They say in 2 minutes and 29 it's a coronavirus. They say the treatment of that coronavirus is chloroquine. And they say that the only thing which is been recommended is a lockdown. Yeah, so you make up your mind. That has been started issued in 2003, 16 years before the C19 thing happened. And if you think that this is a coincidence, I will show you at least 2 pictures. Yeah, and this is not one of the 2 pictures. This is one picture where he is just having a vision that 2 people totally masked with protection suits. Yeah, they are just coming in to just detect things, and they are just totally protected because that virus is deadly. And if you think that is a coincidence, then look a little bit further. Anthony Fauci predicted before Trump came into office that there was a surprise, or would be a surprise outbreak. But of course, that could not be COVID-19. Or that could not be C19, because C19 has not been discovered yet. So therefore, yeah, you see that I once had that link and now I got the access denied. Anthony Fauci said in 2017, Trump will no doubt face infectious disease outbreak during presidency. Yeah, but they are just fact-checking, and they say, of course, it's not real. 10th of January 2017, Georgetown University Medical Center. He says, quote unquote, there is no question that there will be challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases. The thing that we are extraordinarily confident about is that we are going to see this in the next few years.
Well, they took out the surprise outbreak.
Yeah, you see,
they don't admit. They're not telling you that he actually did say there would be a surprise outbreak in the coming administration, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so a surprise outbreak in 20s. Yeah, this is everywhere. Now I can proceed. Yeah, so a surprise outbreak in 2017. And look what now the dead zone is doing in 2003. And of course, there are many so-called coronaviruses. Yeah, so coronavirus was been known in 2003. And this, of course, they don't tell you corona C19 or... You see, this is Anthony Fauci.
Right.
And of course, they will claim that he has said something like this, but this is misinformation about the coronavirus because he does not mention the coronavirus. So these are all paid actors. And then I got a remark from the German Central of Health and all the stuff. You see that. And at least some comments are allowed under this. And he helped plan the pandemic. He didn't predict it. He didn't predict it. He caused it. I feel like I'm being gaslighted all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Fauci was quite clear. I didn't misunderstand anything. Yeah, here's what Dr. Fauci said, but here's how we want you to interpret what he said. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
About it.
Okay, so now then please look at this.
I saw a virus. I think some kind of disease.
A virus? Like what? Like SARS?
I don't know. All I know is that it's highly infectious and it may be fatal.
We need to make sure that everybody that's inside stays inside. I'm gonna get a few deputies on it. We'll call it a lockdown.
Lockdown?
Well, until I come up with something better.
Alt, no. No, you cannot lock the school doors with...
This is for your family's safety.
Maybe we should wear masks. What difference does it make? According to you, we've already been exposed. I'm gonna swab the inside of your mouth with this little Q-tip.
China. Isn't that where flu viruses come from?
Yeah, a lot of viruses come from there. Whatever it is, it originated in China.
This is it. This is your virus.
I'm sorry, but there's no cure for that.
Chloroquine, that's an anti-malarial drug.
No. Listen, it suppresses the enzymes.
The Mayan used astrological events like eclipses. Look at this coincidence here. Do you see what I see?
Hold on. Yeah, an eclipse.
Solar eclipse.
Yep, on the billboard or in the,
on the
board,
billboard,
you know.
yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's the explanation of it, actually, the solar eclipse. Yeah, what has that to do with the virus, you might ask? Because this is the symbol of the Jesuits. And what this also is a solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
So there you got your connections to the C19 already. Because corona means the rays of the sun, or the crown of the sun, and this is only visible at a solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is anything apart from Agenda 201, 201 Jesuits and all the stuff, you see that how many symbols and coincidences you like to have. In hoc signo, in this sign conquer, and nail him to the cross. Yeah, there's the cross, there are the nails. And this is corona. This is, of course, corona is the symbol of the black sun of the Jesuits, which can only be achieved at the sun eclipse. So therefore, I would say that the sun eclipse serves much the Jesuits. That's so easy, actually. And that would also be then backed up with that interesting episode of Dead Zone as being a prediction, kind of, sort of, in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Not by accident, they are showing you a billboard here with a solar eclipse. I have followed extensively sessions of an interesting American astrologer. And he says that eclipses are aligned with important events in history, especially in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 23, verse 44 to 45, in the New American Standard Version, of course. Now it's not the King James Bible. It says here in the Gospel of Luke 23, "And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise." Actually, he has been crucified already. "And it was about the 6th hour, and there was a darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. And when Jesus has cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said thus, he gave up the ghost." So there was darkness all over the earth, and it was about the 6th hour. The sun was darkened. So you even got biblical appearances by the death of Christ, for example, which has then an allegory of the sun did not shine anymore. So that means that certain things can happen, because that is a biblical picture that has been given to us in the Gospel of Luke, for example, that the sun was blackened due to the death of Jesus Christ. And now, as they are mocking Christ, they will use these to their advantage. And I can't tell you what they will plan, but I can tell you that this will be done on purpose, because the Jesuits have a sun as their symbol. Usually, people say that, oh yeah, that's the Jesuits, and then after some research you come up with the what IHS really means, with all the wrong explanations, and later on you see what the sun rays and the corona actually means. And then it is quite clear. You see, it was the Romans who said that they have the right to kill any heretic king. Yeah?
Yeah, or ruler, yeah.
Or ruler, yeah.
Yeah.
So, picture this.
That's the INRI in Latin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They put that on the crucifix, right?
Yes.
Or,
but not as an abbreviation, but completely written words, the entire sentence. So, not INRI. But my point actually is here, you see that the sun solstice is a symbol of dark forces, let's say it, because the sun has been darkened. And that is a time when something is happening, and that is it's a bad time, it's a bad omen, so to speak. Yeah, so it is, in any case, it is a bad omen, because the sun does not shine on that particular region of the country which experiences a total solar eclipse. And this is a symbol of the Jesuits, once again. The sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. So, looking into the solar eclipse. The approximately 3-hour eclipse at the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, which is reported in the Bible and the New Testament, cannot have been a solar eclipse in the sense discussed here. For all 4 Gospels agree that Jesus was crucified on the 14th to 15th of the Jewish month of Nisan. I'm not sure about this. However, a solar eclipse is impossible on this date, because in the Jewish calendar there was a full moon around the middle of the month, not the new moon required for a solar eclipse. Which tells you what? Which tells you either the explanation of a solar eclipse is incorrect, or this solar eclipse, or the darkening of the sun, was not a solar eclipse. You see, God is not bound to physics made by man and physical laws made by man. Once again, if God decides to darken the sun or the moon appear to be in pink, then it will be darkened, or the moon will appear in pink. That's what people do not get, I think. And I think that we are not smart enough and we are not wise enough to explain all the wonders of God, because you see, the fear of the God is the beginning of all wisdom, and not the study of physics of man.
Yeah, see, if we did have all the knowledge, then people would come to us constantly and would be, it's like, it's like trying to put yourself up on a pedestal. Just forget about it.
So at least what we can do is to be of some help, that you see things or connections maybe that you would not have not been known otherwise, so that you can draw your own conclusions and do your own research and study the Bible on your own. In Matthew chapter 24, in verse 29, what has been read there?
Yeah. Should I read it, Mike? Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Yes. And now, what is the condition for the second coming of Christ? If it is real, or it has been staged by a certain church for their end time
tribulation,
begins.
Michael, right? The tribulation.
Yes, and.
Oh, the sun shall be darkened, right?
Yes, so
and the moon shall not give her light.
Right, so that means that
eclipse.
One possibility, or just to
one possibility,
block, or just block total sunlight, and that's what they are just going to do, or just wanting to do, maybe Bill Gates and others. They just want to block the sunlight. But I ask myself, if they just want, if they, Brett, if they just want to block the sunlight, then they will also block the moonlight.
Correct. It's like just super thick clouds, right? It gets really dark when you have a very big storm about to pound you.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, I was struck by that sentence actually, because you cannot only achieve it by a sun solstice, because the sun solstice does not last hours or days. But you see that when the Bible speaks of famines, pestilences, earthquakes, they can achieve this. But to have a wrong Christ to set out in the world, or Mary apparition, or what else, they could also play the game to darken the sun and the moon, because that would then fit into Matthew 24. How they will achieve it, that the stars fall from heaven, I do not know. Maybe they do that on television, I can't tell you. But at least
what you're saying is there's a staged event that will mock the coming of Christ.
I'm not a prophet. What I just see
is
that
you're not saying that, but it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, yes, because you see that I am reminded of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, when somebody is sitting in the temple of God, and maybe if they create a third temple in Jerusalem, somewhere, if you go on that road that many people have gone, the third temple deception, then it makes only sense to present the one sitting on the throne of God in the third temple as the savior of mankind, or what else. So that would at least a possibility. If they just play out the famines and the pestilences and the earthquakes, which they can do, I think, then to block the sunlight would also mean to block the moonlight, and then maybe it's all just a big CGI or what else, or maybe that's also the reason for many so-called satellites in the star, that they just have, maybe, I do not know what they create there, but at least that's a workable hypothesis. If you see that they are just coming out with the universal religion, and they will say, now we know who the real God is, and maybe it is Mary. Maybe it's something else. You see, they're clothed with the stars and the moon under her feet, and I don't know. What I know is that all the events who has been taken into account in Matthew 24 are just very similar to the things they are just being planning right now. That is the prolific point. So they are planning starvation. They are planning this shortages of food and maybe poisoning of water or shortening of water. They are just planning these pestilences in advance. Yeah, what is it since 2020 than just a big medical experiment? And they are just planning this earthquake, can plan these earthquakes. I totally believe that they can create earthquakes. Maybe they just achieve that in the next few years, I don't know. Or maybe they have also created that artificially, so to speak. I don't know. But I think they are capable of much, much more than we ought to know. And I'm not only speaking of Nikola Tesla on that regard. So in Exodus 10, it's about Moses. And what did in Exodus 10, 21, the Lord said unto Moses?
Exodus 10, verse 21, and the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose from any his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
Mm-hmm. So that doesn't sound like a solar eclipse, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So in all these cultures, a solar eclipse or the darkening of the sun, however that may be achieved, is a sign of death. It's a sign of death in the Bible. It's a sign of the power of God in the case of Moses in Exodus 10. Mm-hmm. So that astrologer has made some interesting remarks about so-called coincidences with the sun eclipses here. Alexander the Great has been born before a lunar eclipse in Aquarius on July the 13th, 356 before Christ, and became a king. Sometimes, he says, when a person is born near an eclipses in the process of fighting the Persian king Darius, and this was the final decisive battle. Both sides has astrologers, but reportedly the Persian side was actually the most spooked by it. They were the ones that would have had the Mesopotamian astrologers that knew, and so therefore you see that these astrologers and these cases of lunar and solar eclipses has much significance on these people when they're starting a war or just winning or losing, or a king has been born or somebody will die. Mm-hmm. So the sinking of the Titanic, if that is correct, sank 2 days before a solar eclipse. There was a lunar eclipse 2 weeks earlier, and this would be served as their example of a major event that happened in between 2 eclipses, but it's quite close to a solar eclipse. The Reichstag fire in Germany, there was an eclipse 3 days earlier. So a solar eclipse on February the 24th, and that happened on February the 27th, 1933. That could be other causes. You see that there could be Roman festivities, it could be the patron saint of somebody, could be an alignment of planets. Yeah, but you see that you can play with anything, and we do not want to do this, but it's very interesting that it's been done close to eclipse. For example, the first so-called atomic bomb test happened 1 week after a solar eclipse. Chernobyl disaster, 2 days lunar eclipse before the worst nuclear disaster in history, if you believe this. And this is the really interesting one. Start of the COVID pandemic. Eclipses occurred right when COVID started to be recognized as an emerging pandemic. Solar eclipse in Capricorn, December the 26th, 2019. Lunar eclipse in Cancer on January 11, 2020. And the first time that I have heard about it was close to the 31st of December, 2019. So that is also less than 1 week after a solar eclipse happened. Yeah, this is the COVID timeline from CDC and NIH websites. And this is December 26th, the solar eclipse. And yeah, that's what I told you, December the 31st, the World Health Organization country office in China is informed of several cases of a pneumonia of unknown cause. Could be also just a coincidence then, huh? But of course, if you are just a professional in that and you take your time 24/7 to be busy with that, you will see, I think, some patterns there. He says there was a Saturn-Pluto conjunction which coincided with the AIDS outbreak 40 years earlier. But it's just much more interested for me, maybe, because of my past, than to any regular listener of that. Yeah, lockdowns at Pluto and Capricorn. Yeah. The Wall Street crash of 1929, the worst stock market crash in United States history, started in late October 1929, just days before the eclipses. Yeah, Black Thursday, October 24th, Black Tuesday, October 29th, solar eclipse, Scorpio, November the 1st. Quite fitting, November the 1st, huh? Pagan festivity day. Wall Street crash 1929. Of course, Wikipedia won't tell you anything about eclipses or the Vatican. This is exoteric. They say it started in September and ended in mid-November. Yeah, so it is a period of things. The Great Crash is mostly associated with October the 24th, called the Black Thursday, the day of the largest sell-off of shares in United States history, and October the 29th, called Black Tuesday. Yeah, so between October the 24th and 29th. Yeah, and that eclipse was 2 days later, okay? So that's always a negative sign because the sun has been blocked. And so that means that it's less light on the earth. So that means that affects growth of plants and human and animal, so to speak, but conditions also. In their model, it's just a corona, just the outburst of sun rays here, and in the middle you see the sun. That means that you see that it's an inner core and it's an outer core. That's what they tell you. Once again, I'm not sure about the consistent of sun and moon, because I just think that the Lord has made it perfectly, and not everything can be explained with their kind of science. Yeah. I only know that God can do miracles and wonders, and so I'm just looking forward to the future, because I think that God has some other things in plan, and I don't think that they, so to speak, they will succeed with every action they take.
That was a nice Bible verse you just had up. Should I read it quick?
Yeah, I don't know if it is from the King James Bible. Therefore, I would prefer that I just look it up in the King James version then.
Nice.
13:13.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by the sword, and did live. Yeah, and it continues, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast would both speak and cause as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. I forget how the rest of it
and
goes.
now you see that this is about the beast, and also the beast can do great wonders. So if it is the God who allows to that anything is possible, so maybe that can block the sun and the moon or what else. Once again, I don't rely on their physics that they explain to me, because I know from the past that they have so many lies built into this, and why shouldn't they use any more deception and lies in the future?
So it's all about worship.
It's about what you believe in the end. You see, that is maybe the test of God, if you are in the faith, or if you're just too weak and you just bound too much to your material possessions, and that you are just fearing that you could starve to death, that you don't have enough to eat and drink. It's a little bit, I think, like Moses and when the people have been released from the Pharaoh and they were in the desert without anything, and they didn't know what to eat and to drink and how to make it to the promised land. It's a little bit like this, I think. And then, out of a sudden, there was a miracle that God let rain manna down from heaven. If you do not believe in the Bible, you do not believe in wonders. And that's the problem that we all have been facing, I think. I think that's a problem that we can't imagine what really will happen. Yeah. If you believe the Bible literally, in Exodus 16:35, what does it tell you?
Mm-hmm. And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat manna until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan.
Yeah. 40 years. So if you believe the Bible, you have to believe that they were literally 40 years and that they were just eating manna. So they were totally dependent on the mercy of the Almighty God, because in the desert there is nothing. It's a little bit more than in a vacuum, but still there's nothing to eat. And so this is just a proof of faith, I think, which comes to... Because you see that when the Bible speaks in Matthew 24 out of famines and pestilences, so famines and pestilences could mean that the earth does not bring any fruit, because of their weather modifications and all the stuff. And maybe also they will spoil the water, what else, and they will claim it that is a disease out there, and what else they come up with. But that this famines mentioned in Hungersnöte, famines mentioned in Matthew 24, actually, that reminded me of manna. So the Israelites in the desert, they were totally dependent on manna, that God let rain manna from heaven. And what does Jesus Christ told the devil? He told the devil that man does not live by bread alone. So we live by our faith in God. I think the combination of events might be a little bit strange to some listeners out there, but at least these were my thoughts when I just was combining all the stuff with Matthew 24. You see,
the devil tempted Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tempted Jesus in Luke 4 and Matthew 4.
Mm-hmm.
This time we do Matthew 4 because not always Luke 4 because a little bit, yeah. There you go, 4:4.
Yeah, he's in 3 he tempted. So I'll just read that too, right? And when the tempter came, he said, "If thou be the Son of God, command these stones be made bread." But he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." And the devil just kept tempting him because he hasn't been rebuked yet.
Oh.
Yeah, then the devil taketh him up unto the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, "If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee. This is Psalm 91, right? And in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest thee at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Yeah. And Jesus said unto him, it is written, again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Oh, so he keeps going. And again, the devil taking him up into an exceeding high mountain showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these I will give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me. And then Jesus said unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. So then the devil left, because he knew he couldn't tempt Jesus, right?
Yeah, the devil showed him, the devil taketh him unto, once again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And now you have to imagine your globe. Question, how high is that mountain which can show you all the kingdoms of the world? Maybe it only until the bulge of the equator, I suppose, right?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, you only have to ask questions. You have to raise questions, and they will not be answered. They will say the Bible is an allegorical book. It's a fairy tale for adults. It's just a God who hates everybody, and the God of the Old Testament is not the God of the New Testament. What they will come up with all the stuff. And so you see that if the development goes a little bit further, you see that they will just try to modify our voices, and then they will lay something in our mouth that we have never said, and to try to get rid of us and claim us as rebels and what else. It's always the same. The benefit of age is that each day you get a little bit more closer to your goal. And that's the opposite of that what this word is teaching you. Oh, it's better the younger you are, the more life you got ahead of you. No, it's better that you age, because then you have a kind of a life experience, and also maybe a development of truth and of faith, so that you can see all of these through these lies, and to say that, oh yeah, I'm so glad that I made it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, because you see that I won't let them fool me. Yeah, so the black sun, not only a symbol for Saturn, you know, the black stone, the Kaaba, yeah, for example, or the black stone, the monolith in 2001. Black is not the color of power, but the absence of light. So it's night, or it's just darkness, and darkness is not positive in the Bible. Yeah.
Well, and that's why probably the Jesuits or the papacy uses it as a sign of submission to the hierarchy, right?
It is just the so-called color, although many people speculate that black is not the color of the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see that is Jesus Christ is depicted as clothed with linen, I think it was, or what was it, in white on a white horse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
So the opposition of white obviously is black. The opposition of light is darkness.
Correct.
So when they try to enlighten you, yeah, so it's the other way around. They do not try to enlighten you, but they're just trying to destroy you, to lead you into the darkness. I don't know if there is a city of UN, of Heliopolis, the city of the sun, but it would fit the United Nations then.
Well, it's Babylon, right? Heliopolis is Babylon. That was Babylon.
Heliopolis is in ancient Egypt. There are many. Now we have to be very careful. I have looked that up and I found several places of cities called Heliopolis. So it's not that easy.
Well, I shouldn't say that. It's Mystery Babylon. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's in any case, yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's just you see how
it's modern Babylon. It's not ancient Babylon.
It's really difficult to see all.
Well, yeah, because it's from Egypt. Okay, yeah, it's Egypt. It's Egypt. It's Egypt.
Yeah.
Egypt is bad news when it comes to.
It served as a refugee for Jesus Christ, at least.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it always strikes me that you see that sometimes, often in the Bible, you see all the events just in short sentences, and it's just outrageous. This book, the Bible, is so. It's the only history book actually which makes sense, and so I don't want to go into Egypt. You see that I have started to Heliopolis. Yeah, so can you imagine why the Pope has on his St. Peter's Square an Egyptian obelisk? Huh? Heliopolis, the worship of the sun. Once again, and so therefore that makes sense on the St. Peter's Square. That is a sundial. No? Then it makes really sense. In the center of it is a phallus for UNO or UN, United Nations, or what else. I have looked it up, and they have spelled it this way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the Babylonians worshipped the moon as the queen of night, sacrificed to dark moon in witchcraft, the dark side of the moon. Yeah. With the pyramids everywhere. Yeah. 1540, founding of the Order of the Jesuits with IHS logo. Black and white programming, and of course the symbol
Saturn. I see.
Symbol of Saturn. Yeah, they're always a little bit. Yeah, here's a crescent moon. There are some stars which seem to be hexagrams instead of pentagrams. Well, that's always a little bit different. But what actually is common is that it's a sun symbol, and these are the sun rays, and this is the sun.
Look at the 8-pointed star though at the top.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've just spared it out for you, so that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these, this is the new Minnesota state flag right here. Yeah, great, huh?
Yeah, United States, 1776, independence ritual on July the 4th, aphelion of Sirius, independent of the sun. Yeah, yes, it's always something else. You see, this is July, aphelion, 4th of July. Yeah, it has anything to do with the sun. This is supposedly the position that the Earth has the furthest distance to the sun, because they are just speaking of a sun system. Solar system, once again. It's always, you have to take so much things in account. July the 4th, the Freemason revert the divine union of Sirius with our sun Helios. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Solar eclipse 1919 served as a proof to Einstein's theory of relativity. Any wonders? What actually surprises me is the amount of stuff that you have to know to combine all these events. And then you see the puzzle is getting more and more beautiful, colorful. And then you see all these stuffs with all the black sun, and you see that it's all the same. In the end, it is all the same. It's sun worship, it's the worship of nature, of forces, everything against the Lord and his anointed.
Right.
Yeah. Space Odyssey, Black Monolith. Diana, Lady Di, sacrificed during Black Moon with Black Star Memorial. Black Moon, total eclipse. So all these coincidences. Yeah, Heroes Reborn. What is it? A picture, a movie? I do not know. Or maybe a game. What else? Heroes Reborn. You see that also sun solstice here. The moon blocks the sun. Yeah, there usually you got your sun rays here, but it's, I don't know.
Hard to see it there.
Hard to see it, yeah.
You can, but it's barely there.
Yeah. Yeah, June. Isaiah 13:10, for the stars of heaven and their constellations will not flash forth their light, the sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shed its light. Isaiah 13:10. I don't think that we want to go into every nitty-gritty here. The Bible is not nitty-gritty, but you see that now to solve any of these verses, Isaiah 13:10, that would take hours. At least one thing I'm quite sure, that we will be in for one wonders, and we have to be very careful that we will not be deceived by the power that Satan has been given. Yeah, so the day of the Lord cometh. And that's in Isaiah 13, that looks almost like Matthew 24.
Yeah, that's right.
It's quite near, it's quite close.
Well, that's why it's so important to study and
Yes.
to know. And then you're not going to be ignorant at all about these events coming.
Yes, we see that
You
if
can prepare, right?
if you would be far off with one Bible verse or one chapter, then you got the next chapter, and then you compare, and then you compare, and then you compare. And then you see out of a sudden, oh my, this is not just only the content of one chapter, but this is just also the content of many chapters. Yeah, for example, this is Joel chapter 2. Would you care to read it?
Sure. Joel chapter 2, verse 10, the earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Yeah, so that is so close to Matthew 24 again.
Yes. And
So-
then 11, it continues, and the Lord shall utter his voice before his army. Yeah, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
So if you sum that up to Matthew 24, when Jesus speaks of the great tribulation, and afterwards you will have famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. And then the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give his light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, like this. Yeah, this is been mentioned in several other verses, and I think that if they want to play out an antichrist, a second coming of their antichrist or of their false Christ, let's put it this way, then I would think that all these things should appear. And in Revelation 13:13, you have read that also the beast can cause wonders. So I wonder what will happen. Yeah, Amos 8:9, I will make the sun go down at noon and make the earth dark in broad daylight. So that is anywhere. Ezekiel 32, I will cover the heavens and darken their stars. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon will not give its light. Yeah. So, and this is just so close to Matthew 24. So it is not only Matthew 24 where I'm relying upon, but I see that the coming of the wrath of God and the second coming of Christ, which is mentioned in Matthew 24, has been mentioned in the Old Testament as well. Yeah, so Mark 13 also speaks of after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. Yeah, so you see that the total solar eclipse on April the 8th falls into the period of the age of Aquarius. Of course, these are 2,000 years now. For the next 2,000 years, and also in Pluto in Aquarius. This total solar eclipse is not only valid for United States, but also valid for Mexico. David Nicao Wilcoxon thinks that the Heavenly Father uses comets to mark events, and that could also very well be, but I'm not in line with this, because God says He set lights in the firmament on heaven to divide the day from the night, and let him be for signs and seasons and for days and years. And he says that in the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary for Science, it's oath, which means a signal as a flag, beacon, monument. So everybody has his own interpretation. What I know is that the solar eclipse here in the United States, where you can see that in that small belt, is not only attaching the United States. So don't be afraid of anything that comes there, because it is just God which decides what kind of power Satan has. And if you have faith in God, then you don't have to fear anything. It's just fear-mongering.
Right.
Yeah, Austin, San Antonio, Del Rio. Just fear-mongering. What I found a little bit more interesting is actually these fixed star signs of the Virgo in 2017, because if you just would see this from that standpoint, from the signs in the sky, which is totally incorrect, that it does not happen in once in 7,000 years, because that happens quite more often. But that would be very interesting if that would be a start date for anything else that they have just planned or just been born on that day. Let's speak. Then you just add 33 and you come to 2050, and you come then to the agenda 2050. So I would be very curious what happens in 2050 in any case. That would be my lucky guess. Any thoughts?
Wow, that's a topic that I really have very little knowledge of, as far as the the entire system of
deception. Yeah.
Well, it's opposed to Christ, that's for sure.
Yes,
The astrological system, yeah. But of course, the astronomy, that's a different thing, because you can just look in the night sky and see everything with binoculars or just with the naked eye. And that's provided you have a dark enough sky, right? So I think in Europe there's so many lights you can't see the heavens well at night, can you?
No, that's really a problem, because it's so cloudy here.
It's a light pollution.
A friend of mine has a telescope actually, and I wanted to look up something, but it is not possible, because since weeks it's only cloudy. It's not possible anymore. It's much more cloudy than it was years before.
Right. On purpose, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess they could also take Revelation 12 for future events, and then they claim, okay, yeah, that happened here on September 2017, and then you just add 33 years. That would be one possible solution. Don't know. We have to wait.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up, because I keep thinking, there's just so much. We're just bombarded by this New Age type mysticism, and a lot of people come out of it and find the truth in the Bible, which is great, but there are those that don't, and they're stuck in the system of interpretation, and they use the Bible and they claim to be Christian, but they're really New Agers that are just interested in learning more about how they can use the Bible to their own advantage, so to speak, or to peer into their future, or use it to, use it like astrology, right? So that's a big issue. That's a really big issue.
We could do 50 sessions on that subject alone, because
yes, exactly.
It requires so much background information.
Yes,
but
it does.
I just give you one hint. We talked about Pachamama and the Mother Earth, which the Pope wants to save, because she's into mother worship and Mary worship, of course. But Geo, the entire earth, comes from Gaia. The etymology comes from Gaia, and Gaia means the earth as a goddess, right? And she is the spouse of Uranus, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Which means Uranus is the first planet discovered that was not known in ancient times, named for the god of heaven, the husband of Gaia. So that means that the Earth needs a father also, yeah, so male and female to reproduce. So this is Uranus, which comes actually from Uranos, from a Greek god, literally the heaven and the sky. And this is a big one because many people will not appreciate or just underestimate the impact of Uranus. Uranus means the age of Aquarius. So now you got Pachamama as the earth goddess and you got Uranus as the sky god. Sky and earth, as in heaven, so below. The planet was discovered and identified as Sir William Herschel in Bath, Peter Gabriel, anybody?
Mm-hmm.
And he proposed to call it George Star. The planet was known in English as the Georgian planet, which means George. Jorge. George. And Uranus, being the 7th planet, actually, because the Earth is not a planet and the Moon is not a planet, so actually he would be the 7th planet then. He's a gaseous cyan-colored ice giant. Oh, ice giant. Would remember me a little bit of the Antarctica then. He has an 84-year orbital period around the Sun. Its poles gets around 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of continuous darkness. Interesting, 42. This is Uranus, at least that's what they tell you it is. It looks a little bit like a ping pong ball, but what do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, the Vatican means divining serpent, or the Vatican means actually the mountain of prophecy. And the Vatican, also Vaticanus, means hall of prophecy. The site then became a sacred mount marked by the standing stone to honor the Earth Mother Goddess Cybele. So Earth Mother, the mother worship of Mother Earth, Pachamama, and all the stuff. So the eclipses also, they align with important events in history, but of course they won't explain everything, but it's very interesting because Pluto is not a planet anymore since 2006, but Pluto in Uranus is very interesting because this is the constellation which is now happening since the 22nd of January 2024, which is very interesting because now we have two interesting exceptions here. First of all, Uranus is the only Greek god in the solar system. So that means that Greek philosophy could profit from this. And the second thing is that it's the only planet which has been explained to move counter or to spin counterclockwise allegedly, which would first of all disprove their Big Bang theory, because all the planets are spinning clockwise and Uranus does not spin clockwise. That's why Uranus has been explained as the revolutionary planet. Yeah, so the planet of revolution, because his discovery is very close to the French Revolution. That's the one thing. The other thing is then, think of it. If anything is clockwise and only one is counterclockwise, then he is the adversary, he's the opponent. Uranus is a planet which is eccentric, been known for eccentric stuff, and is also the allegory of Pluto as a ruler of Aquarius as computer age. So I think that the age of computer or technocracy, yeah, so that will boost big time. So the discovery of Uranus has been mentioned in 17 or been made on March the 13th. Do you know March the 13th?
March the 13th. I know that was it Pope Francis began his
Yes.
Pope Francis began his pontificate on the 13th of March.
Yes. 13th of March 2030. Yes.
Mm-hmm, correct.
Yeah, same day as they has discovered Uranus.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was been seen as the dramatic confirmation of Newton's gravitational theory. What means counterclockwise biblically? You ask yourself. The solar system, the pole, so the pole means the sky, the heavens, and Uranus also means the heavens. So very interesting now.